Welcome to today's edition of the Statler Financial Radio Show. Your financial security is our business. Have a question for the team? Call today, 863-877-1188. That's 863-877-1188.
Welcome to the Statler Financial Radio Show. I'm your host, Stephanie Griffin. Here's a number that should stop you in your tracks. 56% of American adults have no legacy plan at all. No will, no trust, no power of attorney, nothing. If you're among this group, don't panic, but definitely don't put it off any longer. Today is the day to take action. Philip Statler, founder and president of Statler Financial Services, he is here to help. Before we get into things with Philip, though, in today's discussion, I want you to know about this special offer from Statler Financial. If you have $500,000 or more saved for retirement, Statler Financial is offering their core retirement design for listeners who want to help protect the legacy they've built. No cost, no obligation. You can call 863-877-1188 now. That's 863-877-1188. Hello, Philip. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well today, Stephanie. I hope you are too. As it's just hard to believe this year is just ticking right through.
Oh, I know. It's going fast. It's going really fast. Time just needs to slow down a little bit. This is actually a good time to start thinking about your finances, though. It's middle of summer, and you could get ready for the end of the year and beginning of next year. Give Philip a call and talk to him about some of these things. Why do so many people, so many successful people, have no legacy plan?
I will tell you, it's kind of understandable. I mean, I get it, right? We're busy.
Sure.
And it's one of those things that we want to put off. It's not a today problem, right? It's going to affect people down the road. It doesn't affect you right now today in whatever you're trying to do, whether it's work, taking the kids to, basketball or football or whatever you're doing. And so it's just not a high priority for folks. And I get it. The other part of that is it feels very uncomfortable. So, you talk about, you have to think about what happens if I'm no longer here, if I pass away, what's going to happen? And the younger you are, the harder that really gets to be, because you don't think that's going to happen for a long, long time. And so people just put it off.
Right.
And then the other thing is, a lot of people assume that you've got enough, so everybody's going to be covered. It's not a problem. Here's the deal. We need to take care of it. It is something that everybody needs to have something in place in case you pass away. And not in case, we're going to pass away someday, right, Stephanie? It's just we don't know when.
Right.
So we need to have that stuff in place.
So Gen X, they kind of lead the pack on this, Philip. 62% having no legacy planning documents at all. So why do you think that is?
That makes sense, right? They're young.
Right.
They haven't thought, they don't think they're going to die. Death is way down the road. And so it's easy to say, I'll deal with it later. And the other thing, Stephanie, is they're really squeezed between aging parents and taking care of them.
True.
And their own kids, taking care of them and getting them places. And so you think about that. On top of that, you got busy careers that push this type of planning to just someday down the road. And ironically, they have the most at stake if something goes wrong, right? What's going to happen to the kids? Who's going to take care of them? There's just a lot of things that have to be dealt with.
Yeah, I'm in that category. I'm a Gen Xer, and I can totally relate to all of those things. So what happens to somebody's money if they die with no plan? Does it get pretty complicated?
Well, it does, but every state has their laws, right? Every state, it's a state issue at that point. And so every state has their, what they call their intestate laws. And that means you die without a will or without a trust. And so those laws decide who gets your money, not you. If you don't have it written down in some kind of legal document, You don't get to decide. The courts are going to decide for you. The law is going to decide. And the courts may appoint guardians for your minor children. Assets can get stuck in probate. That costs a lot of time, a lot of legal fees. It's just not fun. And it's not a place you want to be in, if you can avoid it at all. And you can by having a will in place. That will get you through this process much easier. Folks, listen, if you have at least $500,000 saved for retirement, this is the time to help make sure your legacy is protected, not left to chance. Our complimentary core retirement design to review your estate documents, spot any gaps you may have, and help build a plan that passes your wealth the way you intended. There's no cost, no obligation. Call us here at Statler Financial at 863-877-1188. That's 863-877-1188.
And you are listening to the Statler Financial Radio Show. If you're just joining us, we're talking about legacy planning with founder and president of Statler Financial. And his name is Philip Statler, very knowledgeable man. And you can give him a call if you'd like to talk to him about your legacy plan. That number is 863-877-1188. Philip, there's a brand new tool getting a lot of buzz right now. It's called Trump Accounts. What are they anyway?
Well, yeah, they are getting a lot of press right now because they just launched in July. And so here's the thing is they are a new tax-deferred investing account for kids under age 18. It's like an IRA for kids under 18. The only way you can contribute to an IRA is to have earned income.
Right.
So kids couldn't do that. The Trump account bridges that gap. So now we have basically a non-deductible IRA for kids called a Trump account.
I love that.
Yeah. I mean, it works just like an IRA. The money you put in there is your basis. You don't ever have to pay tax on that. But guess what? You get to pay tax on the growth. No matter what, you will pay tax on that growth. And that money is very specific on how it can be invested. This was a big deal. They wanted to make sure that people really used low cost investments like the S&P 500 fund. So it's kind of a neat account. It's got some drawbacks that we'll talk about in a minute.
So we are talking about legacy tools. So how can grandparents use these as a legacy tool for the Trump accounts?
So it's a way for them to contribute up to $5,000 per child into their own little account. Now, there is a little kicker that kids born between 2025 and 2028, the federal government is going to put $1,000 in their account.
Nice.
Nice.
Yes.
Very nice. It's simple. It's a powerful way to pass wealth to grandchildren. You can put $5,000 a year in there. It moves it from your estate to theirs. And so decades of tax deferred growth can turn a gift into a fortune. And so that's something that, you think about that, $5,000 a year in the S&P 500 over 18 years, that could come up to a nice little chunk of change.
Oh, definitely. I love that. I love that whole plan. I wish I would have started that when my boys were younger. That would have been great. So what is the first step for somebody who has nothing in place for legacy?
So I think you have to start with really the basics. And that would be a will and a power of attorney. And so let's talk about that just a little real quick here. A will starts to work when you die.
Right.
It tells the court, here's how I want my assets divided. Here's how I want my kids taken care of if they're minors, that type of stuff. A power of attorney is important because it takes care of you while you're alive. It allows somebody to make decisions for you when you become incapacitated, whether that's an automobile wreck, a stroke, whatever it may be. Somebody can make medical decisions for you. Somebody can make financial decisions, those type of things. So to me, that a power of attorney is very important. A trust takes control of how and when your assets pass. So, if you have minor children and you don't want them to get money until they're 25 or 35 or 45, whatever it is, then you want to trust, because that'll build that in, and we call those spendthrift provisions. So, and then another thing you want to do is you want to review your beneficiaries to make sure they're correct. I would say annually, you want to take the time to do that to make sure everything's going to go where you want it to go.
I was just thinking about, we just need to update ours. Our youngest son just turned 18 and our other son is 21 now, but we need to change ours. So thank you for reminding me. It just dawned on me. All right. So what's the real goal of legacy planning for someone nearing retirement?
Well, I'm going to say is keep control of your money and your care, right? You want to be able to control your finances, and you want to control what happens to you from a long-term care perspective if that happens, and if you need it. You want to protect your family from confusion and the high cost of probate. And so by having everything put together properly, you can do that. You want to pass your wealth efficiently to the next generation. And you want to leave a legacy, not a burden, because, I've seen it. There have been a lot of burdens because people didn't get things done in a timely manner. Right. Don't let that be you. Hey, I got a few seconds. I want to go back to the Trump account just a minute here, if it's okay.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the taxability, because the growth is taxable to that child. They're not allowed to take money out until the January 1st of the year they turn 18. If they take it out before they're 59 and a half, other than for some specific things, they have to pay a 10% penalty, just like an IRA. So you can use it for education that's not covered by scholarships or other grants. You can use like $10,000 for a first-time home purchase. There's a provision for adoptions. So it kind of follows the IRA guidelines. So just wanted to make people aware of that. It's not a tax-free income, okay? You got to pay tax on that money.
Even if they take it out for the home or for college, they still have to pay taxes.
They just don't have to pay the penalty.
Okay.
Yep. So here's the bottom line. Most Americans have no plan at all for their legacy, but you don't have to be one of them. Without a plan, guess what? The state decides who gets your money. Courts can step in and your family pays the price. With the right plan, the proper documents, the right strategies, and even tools like the Trump account for your grandchildren, you can help protect everything you've built. If you have $500,000 or more saved for your retirement, give us a call here at Statler Financial, 863-877-1188. Schedule your personalized core retirement design. That's 863-877-1188.
Give Philip a call. You have built your wealth on purpose, now protected on purpose. Give him a call at Statler Financial and the Statler Financial Radio Show. We'll be right back. Turn your plans of yesterday into yes today. Don't wait another day for a routine checkup of your retirement plans. Call Statler Financial Services, 863-285-3815. That's 863-285-3815.
Many people don't plan for long-term care until they have to. But long-term care isn't just nursing homes. It can include in-home care, assisted living, or ongoing support over time, and those costs often aren't covered by Medicare. That's why Statler Financial Services helps clients plan ahead, looking at how long-term care fits into a broader retirement strategy. Planning ahead is not about expecting the worst. It's about understanding your options. Call Philip Statler at Statler Financial Services today at 863-877-1188. Philip and his team offer guidance to clarify your choices and cost before you need to act, no matter what life brings. Now is the time to learn more. Call Statler Financial at 863-877-1188, or you can text VISIT to 863-877-1188.
Advisory services offered through Second Half Financial Partners, LLC, a SEC registered investment advisor.
Time to retire right. This is the Statler Financial Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Statler Financial Radio Show with Philip Statler. He is the president and founder of Statler Financial Services. We are so glad you're listening today. Some people spend decades diligently saving for retirement, watching their 401ks and IRAs grow. But here's an important question a lot of people fail to ask. How much of that money will I actually get to keep after taxes? Philip, so why are tax strategies crucial yet often overlooked in retirement preparation?
Well, one of the things is that we're focused on retirement, right? We're focused on having fun and making that next step in our life, and we don't think about taxes. They just have focused on building up the nest egg, and a lot of folks out there have done a great job at that. And so, in that process of accumulation, they overlook what the distribution strategies need to be on those portfolios. Now, let's face it, traditional retirement accounts, they can create this thing we call a tax trap, where withdrawals are taxed as ordinary income. I see this quite often. Folks get ready to retire, they haven't quite paid off their house yet, or they have a few, car loans still they want to get paid off. So what do? They say, well, I'm going to take an extra 75 grand out right now to pay off my house or my car, whatever it is. And then all of a sudden they do their tax return and find out, oh my gosh, I owe a fortune in taxes. And so that's where tax planning comes into the process. We don't want anybody to get blindsided by taxes. The other thing we see is higher withdrawals to cover those taxes can then push you into higher tax brackets and just exasperating the whole situation. So with growing national debt, tax rates could increase in the future. Now, we did get some relief, right? We thought they were going to go up at the end of 2025, but we got some relief with the big, beautiful bill. It extended those tax cuts for a while. And so that's great news. But let's don't waste that opportunity, right? So, because we don't know, they're going to have to go up eventually because of the national debt continue to go. Being tax diversified is important. We need to have some money in Roth where we're tax free, some money in tax deferred. It all works together if you plan properly.
And can you go into maybe a little more detail about tax diversification? Why is that so valuable for retirees?
Well, because think about it. Back before Roth IRAs, everybody put in all their money in 401ks or in IRAs. So when they got ready to retire, nothing had any taxes paid on it. So when they got ready to retire, the only place they really had to take money, because that's where they forced all their savings, is they didn't have any place to take money from that wasn't going to be taxable. And that tax on that account then made more of their Social Security taxable. And it was a rolling stone that just kept going and going. Now we've got this thing called a Roth IRA. And even within folks' 401k, a lot of times they'll have a Roth bucket that they can use. And I encourage you, if you're in the 22% bracket or less, I would definitely be putting my money in the Roth part of the 401k. Yeah, granted, it's not going to save you anything in taxes. The taxes can be so much higher down the road. That's the tax deferral, right? Is diversification is how much do I have in Roth? How much do I have in tax deferred? And then how much do I have in non-qualified? That means I'm going to pay the tax as I go. I'm going to pay the tax on the capital gains, the dividends, all those things as they occur. You need all three of those things to put together a good plan.
I'll tell you something. I honestly did not know, Philip, that Social Security benefits, they might be taxable, and also Medicare premiums could increase based on people's income. And a lot of other people are surprised by that as well. How can strategic withdrawals help minimize these additional costs?
Well, I'll be honest. Sometimes it's not avoidable. I've seen it where it's not avoidable, right? I remember the very first time I dealt with this issue called IRMA. That's where your Medicare premiums go up. And a tax client of mine had sold a huge piece of property and had like a $800,000 profit on this piece of property. And, all of a sudden her Social Security check went down by like $600. And she's like, what happened?
It's a big jump.
And yeah. And we had to go dig in and say, look, your income was well over the IRMA amount. So for the next year, guess what? You get to pay higher premiums on your Medicare Part B premium. So it caught her by surprise, as it catches a lot of people by surprise. Thankfully, though, Stephanie, what we are seeing now is that more people are cognizant of the issue. And so they're asking some questions, and more professionals are asking the right questions to make sure that we're doing the right planning for folks. And that's a good thing. And that's, again, part of our core retirement design is to do that tax planning, to have that plan in place. If I'm going to sell something big, what's it going to affect? And just know we may have to deal with that down the road. Would love to sit down with you. Again, it's 30 minutes. Ask your questions. I'll be happy to answer them. 863-877-1188. That's 863-877-1188.
You are listening to the Statler Financial Radio Show. I'm Stephanie Griffin, and I am sitting with Philip Statler of Statler Financial Services, and he is the founder and president of Statler Financial. You can give him a call. Let me mention that number again. You can even text VISIT to this number and get your free consultation, 863-877-1188. That again is 863-877-1188. Philip, what is the first step someone could take if they want to explore creating a more tax-efficient retirement plan?
Well, I think the first thing is you have to know where you are right now, right? So it's like the other day, I met with some folks that have a rather large IRA. And so now what do we do? What's the plan? Because if we wait until RMD time, the RMDs are going to be huge. That's the required minimum distribution. That's the amount the IRS says you have to take out every year. And if they wait, that number is going to be huge, and it's going to make basically 85% of their Social Security taxable. It's going to create a huge bill.
Right.
So we have an opportunity now, while they're still in a relatively low tax bracket, to do what we call take advantage of those tax brackets. Let's max out that 12% tax bracket, or let's max out the 22% tax bracket. If we think they're going to be in a 22% tax bracket down the road, let's max out the 22% tax bracket, because the likelihood 10 years from now is that they'll be, if they have to take RMDs, they're going to be in a higher tax bracket than 22%. So that's going to be the key, is looking at those circumstances and putting together a plan on how we're going to take advantage of our IRA. How are we going to convert to Roth? How are we going to take advantage of the tax brackets? And just, that's what we do. That's what we plan for in our core retirement design.
Now, we've been talking about the retirement tax strategies that people should be doing. How often should people review those strategies? Because the tax code, it seems like it's constantly changing.
Yes, we did. Because early in 2025, we were preaching, the end is coming, right? The tax brackets are going to go up back to what they were prior to the Trump tax law change. And so we were all looking at Roth conversions and what can we do, because people are going to pay a lot more taxes in 2026. And what happened? They came in, they passed a bill that extended those tax cuts and added us some more benefits for the next 4 or 5 years. So you never know, because it could be the exact opposite, right? They can be, hey, look, we got to pay down debt. Let's jack tax rates up.
Right.
So we got 5 more years that we can take advantage of converting these IRAs to Roths, which to me, we need to look at. Everybody needs to take the opportunity to look at that. And we need to look at that on a regular basis. I mean, for my clients that we're doing Roth conversions, it's an annual event that we look at and say, okay, what's happened this year? Did you sell anything big? Can we still make the Roth conversion work? Maybe we can't do 40,000. Maybe we can only do 15,000 this year. But what is that number? What can we do to take advantage of this whole tax bracket? Let's max it out and take advantage of it. So again, when we look at that, that's the thing. You're right. The tax code changes all the time. And we've got to play the game with the rules we have at the time. And right now, we got some extensions that we need to work on and take advantage of these extended lower tax brackets. And again, let me just remind you, our core retirement design looks at 3 key areas of retirement. It looks at the risk in your portfolio that mitigates some of the ups and downs you may see. It's a tax plan where we look at how can we pay the least amount of taxes possible for not just you, your spouse, but also your beneficiaries. Think about this for a minute real quick. If something happens and one of the spouses dies, now our tax brackets automatically go up because now we have to file single.
God, how scary that would be when that surprises you and you're still more in.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. And then the third leg of that core retirement design is designing that income plan that's going to give you the income you need in retirement. Give us a call at 863-877-1188. That's 863-877-1188 to schedule your core retirement analysis.
All right, Philip, sounds good to me. And we would love you to call him once again, 863-877-1188. Sit down and talk to Philip Statler about your retirement and any questions you may have. He'd be happy to answer them for you. When we return, we'll explore specific tax-efficient strategies that can help you keep more of your hard-earned retirement savings, including Roth conversion opportunities and ways to help prepare for your future tax changes. Stay tuned. We've got more of the Statler Financial Radio Show on the way.
Needing a second opinion on your retirement plan or to see if you're paying more than your fair share to Uncle Sam? Schedule your complimentary visit today. Text VISIT to 863-877-1188. That's VISIT to 863-877-1188.
The market goes up, it goes down, but retirement keeps going. And when you're close to retirement, those swings can feel very different. At Statler Financial Services, our planning focuses on helping plans stay aligned through market movement, so short-term volatility doesn't disrupt your long-term plans. It's about balance, income planning, and staying disciplined through changing markets. Call or text VISIT to 863-877-1188 now for your free risk analysis from Philip Statler at Statler Financial Services. If you're nearing retirement or already there, now's the time to review your strategy. Take the first step. Get your questions answered before the next market volatility takes a chunk out of your portfolio. Call or text VISIT to 863-877-1188. That's VISIT to 863-877-1188. Advisory services offered through Second Half Financial Partners, LLC, a SEC registered investment advisor.
Welcome back to the Statler Financial Radio Show with founder and president of Statler Financial Services, Philip Statler. Thank you so much for listening to us today. The prospect of retirement brings excitement and concern for many Americans. Building your nest egg is very important, but those taxes on withdrawals can really impact how long your money lasts. So what specific actions can listeners take today to create a more tax-efficient retirement strategy, Philip?
Well, I think that the strategies are out there. It's just making them work for you. And here's probably the key. You have to be willing to pay some tax up front to save more taxes in the back. And that can be hard for people to grasp, right?
Right.
So the first step is evaluating your current mix of accounts across the different tax treatments that are out there. What do we have in Roth? What do we have in traditional? What do we have that's neither one, non-qualified? not retirement accounts. We need all three to put things together so that you have the best opportunity. So once we look at that, then we want to consider strategic Roth conversions during years when you might be in a lower tax bracket. And that's singling out different years. It's not a one and done deal. So for some reason, people think that. I have some clients, we do $10,000 a year, convert from traditional to Roth. Other clients, we do $25,000 or $40,000 a year. So everybody's different, and that's why you have to go through the planning process. You need to plan for required minimum distributions before they become mandatory. I did a review with a client this year, and she turns 73 next year, meaning she has to start taking money out for her required minimum distributions. And she's done a little homework. She said, Philip, since the tax rates are low, maybe we should do some Roth conversions this year before I have to start taking my required minimum distribution next year.
Oh, wow.
I said, absolutely. Let's look at that.
Yeah.
We scheduled another appointment. I'm putting together the numbers now to see, how much can she put into a Roth and still stay in that 12 to 22% tax bracket because, well, she lives in one of those high states too. So she's going to pay some high state income tax. So we really want to look to see how that's going to affect her. But again, it's the planning process. It's being cognizant of the fact that everything's sitting in her traditional IRA, and she knows the amount of money she's going to have to pull out and pay taxes on is huge. Now, the other thing people don't want to talk about, or they do, but they don't understand how to do it yet, or a lot of advisors don't deal with it. There's a lot of strategies for folks out there that are charitably minded, especially once you pass that 70.5 marker. Things called QCDs, qualified charitable distributions, that you can use your IRA to fund your charitable endeavors. It's a huge thing that can save you big amounts in taxes. Some people just don't want to deal with it, though. I don't get it, but everybody's different, right?
That's why you're here. You can help him out, right? Help him out. Definitely give Philip a call. 863-877-1188 is the number. And Philip, it seems like tax laws are always changing. We mentioned that earlier. How can retirees create a tax strategy that helps provide flexibility as their situation and tax laws evolve over time?
Well, Stephanie, that's good. That's a good question because here's the deal is that a lot of people don't, right? They do something and don't think about it and it's done and it can't be undone. And so what I encourage my clients to do is look, before you do something that may cause some tax issues, call us. Let's call us and let's make sure that what you're doing makes the most sense. And make sure there's not another way to skin that cat. For instance, I'll have clients that will call me and say, Philip, it's time for me to buy my new car, right? I need $50,000 because cars ain't cheap this time of year,
that's
right?
For sure.
So I need to buy a new car. Take the money out of my IRA and send it to me. And then, whoa. Let's look and see at where all your pots of money are, and let's make sure that that's the right choice. We have an IRA over here, we have a Roth IRA there, and we have a non-qualified account. Well, if you take $50,000 out of the traditional IRA, then we know your tax bill is going to be significant. What if we kind of took some from everywhere? We take $15,000 from the traditional. We take $15,000 from the Roth. We take $10,000 from the non-qualified. Now we still got the $50,000. But you've saved a lot of money in taxes by doing it that way.
Very smart.
So that's the key. Is I tell people, look, don't just say send me $50,000. Tell me what you're going to do, what you're trying to accomplish, and let's plan out how we're going to do it. The other way that comes up, Stephanie, is that people want to pay off something. They just retired. They want to pay off. The car still. Mm-hmm. Well, let's don't do it all in one year. Let's do it in 2 years. Let's take it this year and let's pay some off this year. And let's get into the next tax year and take some more money out and pay the rest of it off.
Great
idea. Now we've straddled 2 tax years. So it's just making sure that we plan the process. And so many people are focused on the end result and they don't care how you get there. Well, how you get there can be half the battle, right?
That's exactly right.
That's the big tax consequences there. And so I think that's where we really help a lot of folks, is making sure that we do the best we can to be tax efficient. Now, truth, you can't always be tax efficient, right? Sometimes you don't have a choice. But man, whenever you can be tax efficient, let's don't lose that opportunity. Just make sure that you're doing everything you can to save yourself the most you can in taxes.
The first step is to give Philip a call for sure. We want you to reach your financial goals. Give Philip Statler a call right now at 863-877-1188. That number again is 863-877-1188. You're listening to the Statler Financial Radio Show. And Philip, how do you help people develop tax-efficient withdrawal strategies? So everybody is different. How do you tailor it to a specific situation?
Well, that's where we look at our income planning, right? Is putting together the income plan. That's the deal right there, is where is money going to come from? And what happens occasionally will be we've got a plan in place and something happens, right? There's always something, especially in Florida. A hurricane comes through. Well, Philip, I need an extra $25,000 to fix something. Okay. Well, that wasn't in our plan. Let's figure out the best way to handle that. And so we look at a couple different scenarios and come up with the best alternatives we can. And that's the key. So often I talk with people and they say, I asked my financial advisor, I need some money out of my IRA. He didn't ask a question. He didn't make any suggestion. He just sent me the money. And now I owe this huge amount in taxes. And so I think that's the key, is making sure that people are really looking at and being conscious of the tax implications. They just say, gross it up. Gross it up. I need $20,000. Gross it up to $25,000. That'll take care of the taxes. Well, maybe there's another way. Maybe there's a better way. It's just understanding the process, understanding the tax consequences and how the taxes work to put together maybe a better plan that accomplishes the same thing in the process. And so I think that's the key. And again, Stephanie, when I work with somebody, we work through our core retirement design. And remember, that's 3 specific categories. We look at how much risk do you have in your portfolio, and does it really match up with the amount of risk you want in your portfolio? Somebody will say, well, I'm moderate. Well, what does moderate mean? Can you handle a 20% decline in your portfolio and be okay? So those are the things you have to look at.
Yeah, everybody's different.
Everybody's different. Yes. Step 2, look at the tax consequences of where you are. How can we minimize that tax, not just for you, but for your beneficiaries, right? Because they're going to be in a much higher tax bracket than you are usually. And so we need to look at those rules and make sure that we're doing what's best for our entire family. And then lastly is obviously the income planning. We've got to have an income plan. We've got to have a map to follow, a plan to get us to where we need to be. And that's what the income plan does. It gives us a track to run off of. Folks, look, it's that simple. Give us a call. We'd love to help you work through it. 863-877-1188. That's 863-877-1188.
And we aren't finished yet. More of the Statler Financial Radio Show is coming up.
Many Many people don't plan for long-term care until they have to. But long-term care isn't just nursing homes. It can include in-home care, assisted living, or ongoing support over time, and those costs often aren't covered by Medicare. That's why Statler Financial Services helps clients plan ahead, looking at how long-term care fits into a broader retirement strategy. Planning ahead is not about expecting the worst. It's about understanding your options. Call Philip Statler at Statler Financial Services today at 863-877-1188. Philip and his team offer guidance to clarify your choices and cost before you need to act, no matter what life brings. Now is the time to learn more. Call Statler Financial at 863-877-1188, or you can text VISIT to 863-877-1188.
Advisory services offered through Second Half Financial Partners, LLC, a SEC registered investment advisor.
Welcome back to the Statler Financial Radio Show with founder of Statler Financial, Philip Statler, and we really appreciate you tuning in today. I'm Stephanie Griffin. We are getting ready to put Philip in the hot seat. We've got pressing questions from you, the listener, and we appreciate you letting us know. Any questions you may have, you can definitely email, go online, call, whatever you'd like to do, and we will ask Philip these. Are you ready to go, Philip?
I guess I'm as ready as I'm going to be, Stephanie.
I know you'll do great on this. Okay, Philip, first question. How can I help make sure my savings last through my entire retirement?
I think that is a good question, and I wish more people would think about that when they head into retirement. It's having a written retirement income plan in place. If it's in writing, it's more likely going to happen that way, as opposed to what I call shooting from the hip. You know, having that plan gives you more confidence in your retirement outlook. And I've seen people enjoy their retirement. It takes that uncertainty out and just gives them a better perspective on retirement as a whole.
What strategies can help me deal with market downturns when I'm retired?
Well, let's talk about strategies and downturns in the market. If you listen to my show much at all, you know that I'm a big believer when it comes to diversification. And not just the pie chart that you see on your statement. The first round of diversification needs to be that diversification between what is protected, meaning it cannot go down in value, versus market risk in the stock market. We need both. The question is, how much do we need in both? And that comes down to a couple factors. One that I like to look at is what we call the rule of 100. Minus your age from 100, that is a rough amount of what you should have at risk. So if you're 90 years old, that's going to leave you 10, right?
Right.
So 10% is what you would want invested in the market. Now that's just a starting point. For some people, it may be more. For some people, it may be less, depending upon their outlook and what their risk tolerance is as a whole. But first, everybody has to make that first determination. What percentage do I want safe? What percentage do I want in the market?
Philip, you've been in the financial business. It's been over 20 years. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah,
right.
that's great. And if you'd like to be in good hands, call Philip and his team at 863-877-1188. That's 863-877-1188, and sit down and talk to him about your retirement. We are doing questions today with Philip, and we're kind of getting to know him a little bit better, but also we're getting his financial knowledge as well. How can I figure out how much I can safely withdraw from my nest egg each year, Philip?
Well, that's a good question. There's the old-fashioned 4% rule, which a lot of people use. I've read a couple articles lately that, in the back a couple years ago, that they actually said if you really run the numbers, it should be 2.8%. I've seen a recent study that came out, and I think it said 3.2% is really what, if you have everything in the stock market, you can take 3.2%. But I think that the best way is to put together a conservative-based income plan. And when I say conservative, I mean you figure that, the market may make 5 or 6% a year. Now we know historically it's done better than that. But if I use lower conservative numbers and it works, then I know it'll definitely work if it makes more money than that, right? It's just we can bonus out money here and there for folks. So that's really what I look at is putting the numbers on paper and therefore creating that plan that people can know, here's how much I can pull out.
Now, life is about balance, I guess. So, Philip, what are some ways to balance growth and preservation in my portfolio?
Again, it comes down to everybody's different, right? How much growth they can handle. I recently had a conversation with a client who is getting close to that required minimum distribution phase of her life next year. And she said, Phil, I don't need the money. So what are we going to do with that money? I said, well, we'll open another account and we'll put it into that account. She says, I don't need it. So I think for that bucket of money, we can be a little bit more aggressive with that bucket of money because I wasn't planning on having it anyway. So it depends on everybody's different. And so it depends on their outlook and their current circumstances as to what that looks like. But initially, right, we're going to look at that rule of 100 as a starting point. And it may be, hey, you're 65 years old. That means maybe 35% should be in the market. But that's like I said, it's not a hard and fast number. Maybe, because of your risk tolerance, it shouldn't be 35. Maybe for you, it needs to be 45 or 50%. And so everybody's different. And so we don't pigeonhole anybody. We're going to walk through our process to determine what that number should be for them based on their values and based on their risk tolerance. Again, Stephanie, that's all kind of what we build in to our core retirement design because we want people to really be able to focus on their retirement and have that retirement they always dreamed of. Folks, to get started, it's simple. Give us a call, 863-877-1188. That's 863-877-1188 to spend 30 minutes with me to get all your questions answered.
And you can also text VISIT for that free consultation as well to that same number, 863-877-1188. And you are listening to the Statler Financial Radio Show. We're going to take a few minutes. It's our lightning round, and we're going to help probably me more than some of your listeners to get to know you a little bit better. You have 2 minutes, and I want you to answer as many questions as you can. We're doing Think Fast. Are you ready for this? We're going to start the time.
Yes, I'm as ready as I'm going to be.
Okay, well, let's see what we have for you here. First question, what's the best vacation you've ever taken?
Yeah, Stephanie, I've been fortunate. I've had some great vacations, but the one that really sets me apart was the second time we went to Hawaii. We were able to bring our kids. And so our kids came over, and then I had an uncle and a cousin that met us over there. And so we spent about 10 days with everybody. My kids were there for about 2 weeks total, and then we sent them away, and then Joyce and I had an event to go to where we spent another 5 days. So that was probably my best because it was really the first big vacation I was able to take my kids on.
That is so nice, and it's beautiful there. I've been there, and it's just lovely. It's very pretty. What food could you eat every single day? That's a hard one.
This may sound a little bit different, but if it's the right coleslaw, I could eat coleslaw probably every day.
Really? I don't think I've heard that answer before. Somebody must make some really good coleslaw. Does your wife make coleslaw? Is she the one?
My grandmother, she does, but my grandmother made the best coleslaw.
I love that. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
I have become an early bird.
Yeah? This is a bonus question. Do you drink coffee when you get up in the morning?
I do. Actually, my coffee pot is programmed for 4:10 every morning.
Oh, wow.
And I get up between 4:30 and 5 every morning.
Good for you. I like that. You got to get your day started. What is your favorite movie quote?
I don't have one.
You don't have one?
No, sorry to disappoint you.
That's all right. All right, what's one piece of advice you'd give your younger self? That's a great question.
It is. And I think that would be, hey, whatever you do, you never fail.
Very nice.
You just have to keep trying new ideas to get to where you want to be.
I love that. That's really great. I think we all need advice when we're younger from our older selves. I think that's a great thing. What app on your phone gets the most use?
I'm embarrassed to say this, but I think according to my phone, which tells me every week, social media. So pretty much Facebook, unfortunately, gets probably the most that it shouldn't. I really need to delete that app, but
I think we're all, everybody in our age category looks at that pretty much every day. So you're not the only one. What's your favorite holiday?
I think my favorite holiday is Thanksgiving. I have great memories of both Thanksgiving and Christmas, but Thanksgiving was, I was born in Missouri, and so a lot of times, I've lived here since I was 8, but a lot of times we would go back to Missouri for Thanksgiving, and that was when all my cousins would all be there, and we'd all just have a great time.
A lot of good memories, it sounds like. What job did you want to have as a kid?
I wanted to be a veterinarian.
Awesome.
I didn't like to study. So.
That's funny. So that didn't work, and you changed your mind and decided to become a financial advisor.
So then I wanted to be an attorney, but I didn't want to go to school that long. So I settled on being an accountant, and so that's then I morphed into the whole planning process.
Go to karaoke song, or do you have one? Do you like to karaoke?
I don't have one.
You don't have one?
I'm not really I can't remember. I think I may have karaoke one time in my lifetime.
Okay, well, I'm going to change that question up then. What is your favorite generation of music? You like the 70s? You like the 80s? What do you like?
I like the 60s and 70s. You know, when I listen to Sirius radio, it's pretty much on the 70s.
Yep, I knew I liked you for a reason, Philip. What's your favorite way to unwind after a long day? Because I get up so early, by the time I come home, I'm really, especially if it's a work day, I've poured a lot of myself into my clients, making sure and helping them do what needs to happen. So at the end of the day, I'm usually pretty wore out, and I will veg out on the couch and listen to the news. If I'm not barbecuing, a lot of times I'm doing barbecuing. Yeah, I'll probably barbecue a couple times a week. Wow. Well, that was a lot. I really enjoyed getting to know you better. Thank you for doing that for us. That was a lot of fun. Thank you for taking time, and make sure you give Philip a call and his team at Statler Financial Radio Show, 863-877-1188, 863-877-1188. And we will be back next week with Philip on the Statler Financial Radio Show.
Advisory services offered through Second Half Financial Partners, LLC, a SEC-registered investment advisor. The opinions voiced and information provided in this material are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine what investments are appropriate for you, please consult with a financial advisor. Second Half Financial Partners, LLC does not provide tax or legal advice. Please consult your tax or legal advisor regarding your particular situation. This radio show is a paid placement.